What's up? What's happening? This is your boy Chris Harris chiming in. I'm giving my 2 cents on Houston's win tonight, 110-99 versus the load hated Dallas Mavericks. As an aside, I'm from Houston, born and bred, but went to Dallas for college. So beating the any Dallas team is the joy of my it's the light of my day. So I love it. I love it when we beat Dallas in anything. The Texans, the Rockets, anything, any sport, anything in general. Astros, love it, man. So anyway, 110-99. Run through the box score real quick. Jabari Smith Jr. 12 points, 5 of 8 shooting. Got banged up a little bit. He only played 23 minutes. Hope he's okay. He came in late, hit a couple actually pretty important shots near the end of the game to kind of salt the game, but hope he's all right. Dylan Brooks, 40 minutes, 19 points, plus 9, 6 of 15 shooting. Alperen Sengun, 37 minutes, 9 of 16 from the field, plus 21, 23 points. Fred VanVleet, 42 minutes, 1 of 8 shooting, 0 of 3 from the three-point land, plus 16, but only 5 points. Jalen Green, 38 minutes, 9 from 21 from the field, plus 18 with 22 points overall. Cam Whitmore, an excellent game, 24 minutes, but was 7 of 9 from the field, plus 12, 18 points. Jae'Sean Tate, 15 minutes, minus 7, 3 points. Steven Adams, 7 minutes, 4 points, minus 2. Aaron Holiday, 15 minutes, minus 8, 4 points. For Dallas being kind of shorthanded, no Luka tonight. We did what we were supposed to do, what we kind of had to do in this circumstance because we have a tough schedule. Kind of as we maneuver through January, already started, but as we continue through January, so a good win. The We did what we needed to do. We put the clamps on them. Did really defended Kyrie really well. 7 for 13, 2 or 3 from free throw line from the free throw line, but didn't really get going from 3. 0 of 2. He was minus 16 during his time out there. Like I said, we really put the clamps on him. Did an excellent job defending him. Lively had a good game. Klay Thompson had a good game, but he didn't. With Klay, it's kind of he's not driving, he's not really kicking at anybody. He doesn't. He's not he's not a creator. He's a play finisher. So he doesn't multiply. Like him had going off doesn't really. He's not a multiplier. Like if Kyrie goes off, you have to dedicate so many resources to him, and he can kick the ball out. And you could get yourself in trouble if he's the one that's killing you. But Klay Thompson going 4 for 8 from the 3-point land for 16 points. Again, he was minus 21. So that's about as good as you're gonna do on Klay Thompson, especially when he plays against Houston. He's gonna be in fuego. So I'm fine with what with that output. We really wanted to kind of talk on the kind of the topic of the night is Cam Whitmore. He's putting up good numbers consistently, and I'm a big Cam Whitmore fan. Y'all that follow me, anybody watching this is probably following me. Y'all know that I'm a big Cam Whitmore fan. Would love to see more of him, and I'm glad that he's given coach a reason to put him in and keep him in more. Again, I hate that it's kind of taking this long, but that neither here nor there. But really, really, really glad that he's getting a shot to kind of show what he could do. So a couple of the best lineups. I think these kind of came at the end of the first half, and I have to rewatch the game. I haven't had an opportunity, obviously, but the first lineup that I noticed when he first started going off, he was in for Jalen and he was with the starters. I beg eBay, begging Begging, please, like sincerely, please give him some run in that situation. Like, you don't have to start him, you don't have to whatever, but like you look at the outcome. He was balling. Whenever the offense started getting stagnant, and I know Ime is he's a defensive coach. One of the most disturbing quotes I've heard recently is Cam saying, "Hey, coach doesn't care about offense, blah blah blah, defense." And that sounds cool. I want y'all to understand that sounds cool. That sounds like we have a great coach that he's a defensive hard nosed coach. It sounds great, but like you have to be able to perform on both sides of the ball, and only have your focus on one side and the output on one side of the ball, and make all your decisions based on what's going on the defense is detrimental. Because you'll see things like Jae'Sean Tate being off the bench before Cam Whitmore. Jae'Sean Tate he's at the last year of his contract, 30 years old, 28 years old, however old he is. Foul magnet, but he plays hard. He's a hard nosed type. He's an Ime type of guy. So yeah. But it's not good for the team. You need to mix your offense and your defensive specialist or minded type of player. When Cam comes in, he makes things happen. He's not a bad. He has his issues on defense. He'll get out of position. He'll get over eager. He'll try to get the home run steal instead of just staying solid on his man. Sometimes he gets lazy, goes under screens when he should go over. I understand all that stuff. I'm not trying to say he's an all-star or anything like that, or all NBA, whatever. But we've given Jalen, we've given Sengun, we've given all these other players time to work through it. I don't think anybody would disagree. I think Jalen was a pretty awful defender. Sengun was a bad defender. And now both of them are Sengun, depending on what metric you look at, is one of the better late game defenders, one of the better rim protectors in the game. Depending on what metric you look at, Jalen Green, solid, much better. He still has some issues with screen navigation, whatever. But all in all, they've improved. And they've improved through reps, through coaching, through all that stuff. Give Cam that same opportunity because, to me, the strength, the size combination that he has, plus the athleticism, you couldn't build if you had a AI and said, "Hey, build me an NBA player from scratch." You would get Cam. He's built like a tank. He can shoot. He can pass. When he wants to. When he decides to. But he could do everything that you want somebody to be able to do on the court. He's very young and he just needs the opportunity to develop. But with all that being said, that lineup with the starters, when Cam is with people that he knows that he trusts, that he sees every day, that he knows that if he passes him the ball, he'll get the ball back if he's open. There was one play I believe where Sengun was backing his man down, had the man pinned, but started to do his little turn. I think it was PJ Washington. PJ Washington leaned into him a bit, pushed him off balance, and Sengun was on 1 foot, and Cam had already started his cut. And he cut around Sengun and was right there at the basket. Sengun was able to find him with a bounce. I think it was a bounce pass. Cam put it up for an easy layup. You could see that. We would see more of that if you would just trust the man and let him play through some mistakes and give him the same opportunities afforded to others. I know it is prominent, Rockets platforms that talk about, hey, it's politics and yada yada, and this is just since he was a lower pick, blah blah blah. I do not care about any of that stuff, and frankly, I don't understand why any fan does. Best players should play, right? The best players should play, and I have nothing there's good people that love Jalen, there's people that hate Jalen, there's the whole gulf in between. But my frustration with Jalen and my frustration with the Jalen situation is not with Jalen the player, it's how Jalen gets treated and how, it's just a given that he's going to start. It's a given that he's going to take shots. It's a given, all these thousands of shots. It's a given that, if he has defensive lapses, they'll be tolerated. It's a given that, this and that'll happen with Jalen. And when you can see that maybe we have players like Amin with what's the name, Cam, that if afforded the same opportunity, they may be further along. And I could care less about draft position. I could care less about whatever other politic thing there is. It doesn't matter. It's supposed to be about basketball. It's supposed to be about who's the best players play, and they get the opportunity to play together. And you see what Cam can do when playing with the stars. I mean the stars with the starters. So I advocate, I am as high on the possibility of Cam getting more minutes with the starters as I could possibly be. The next lineup that I wanted to mention was Jalen getting point guard run alongside Cam at the two. I think it was at the two at the time. To end that run, I think Cam got some extended minutes with Fred off the floor, and I would have to look at the stats, but that also looked good. And really, Jalen got up and down, helped Cam. Cam was getting up and down with him. Having a couple athletes to play off each other, I think that helped them both. But like I said, I think that Cam was going off without Jalen's help. But it looked good too. It was another good lineup. I will say that it was a little frustrating to see Jalen, turn the ball over a couple times, unforced turnovers, like dribbling off your leg and off your hip. Come on, man, we're here for. Not to say that you have to be perfect, but just unforced errors. We don't need it, man. LP looked really good. He started off a little slow. I was wondering, what if you didn't have lost his mojo after a couple games. But anytime Dallas chose to single cover him, he went off. He attacked. I'm glad he was aggressive tonight. And once they doubled him, he made the right play and got his teammates involved. I will say I look forward to the day that we have a more dynamic backcourt that's able to use his gravity a little bit more effectively and immediately. But again, good night for him. Good night for I think Fred actually had a pretty decent night. This is kind of what you want to see from Fred when his shot's not falling. He was willing to pass the ball. He didn't overshoot. He didn't over dribble. He swung the ball, I thought, pretty effectively. Not a lot of negatives that he didn't hit, besides the fact that he couldn't throw water in the ocean. But other than that, he was all right. Dylan had a good game. Jabari's minutes were limited, but he was okay in his limited time. And please, coach, just stop putting Jae'Sean Tate out there. Just stop. I understand we're shorthanded. I would have rather seen a 8-man rotation, read minutes, anything. Jae'Sean all he gonna do is foul. That's it. He hit a 3. Yay. Again, I would rather watch SpongeBob SquarePants reruns in Spanish than watch Jae'Sean Tate play basketball. Please trade him. Stone, if you're listening, I beg of you, trade the man, please. With that said, wanted to touch on a couple things. One thing, the biggest thing, is the trade deadline. I didn't realize that we had like 5 weeks left. Something somewhere in there for the trade deadline. So just to give my 2 cents, real quick, real briefly on where we are and what we need and what we're going to do. So where we are, solid team, definitely in the playoff mix. We have to keep winning. The West is uber competitive. They will not give us a break. We have to earn whatever we're gonna earn. We have to beat teams like the Mavericks tonight that were shorthanded. We have to take advantage of any weakness in our opponent. But I think that when the dust settles, we'll probably stabilize. 4th, 5th, 6th, somewhere in there in the West. I hope that's obviously higher on the list. But as currently constructed, assuming that no additional injuries come about, and that we play up to our potential. We're almost to the point of the season where we tend to kind of crash out. So assuming that Shingun doesn't take him long to catch his second win, or Jalen doesn't take that long to catch his second win, we should be firmly in the mix for a home court playoff series. All things, which is excellent, all things considered. With that being said, there are a couple of things that I want to address in the fan base briefly. First things first, is this notion that they're kind of playing with house money. I understand where it comes from. I understand why people think that. But in sports, your window is so fleeting. I remember, I'm an Eagles fan, and I remember when Donovan was a rookie, the whole world was his oyster. You know what I'm saying? Like, balling out. You and Freddie Mitchell and Todd Stinkston and all those cats balling out. And I remember when he retired with no Super Bowl ring. You know what I mean? And that time, it seems like at the beginning you have all the time in the world. And at the end, you look back at all the missed opportunities, and you'd be like, man, if I would have just done this differently, if I would have had the knowledge then that I have now, if we would have went for it, if we would have made that trade, whatever the case may be. So in sports, it doesn't work. Like, the opportunities are fleeting. So if Houston has the opportunity to make some noise, and I don't know, I don't believe that we're the caliber team to kind of win the whole thing, but be that neither here nor there, you cash your chips in reasonably, right? You go in reasonably, you go hard to a reasonable extent in order to make the best push you can make. And I can understand that the argument was like, hey, if we stand pat, if the team as is were to continue on the same trajectory as it's going, we will end up in the same place that we would end up if we make trades, right? Like, if we had in place a team that fit, a young nucleus that really fit together, that we were confident in 5 years, these were, like if this was 2K, that these, we'd have, like all 90s in the starting five. Then like, hey, you that's fine. You ride that out. And if somebody blows you away off your feet or whatever with the offer, you roll with that. But that's not the case. I think that you have some glaring issues in the backcourt that won't go away. And for them to go away, you need something that completely unexpected to happen, or for players to kind of accept roles that I don't think that they're ready to accept. Something out of the ordinary, or you would have to have coach make some kind of fundamental changes, like make Jalen Green a 6-man, or Fred a 6-man, something like that. May help. With the issues that exist. But since those things aren't happening, then you need to maybe consider a trade. And I think De'Aaron Fox or Devin Booker, Zach LaVine, all the names that have been mentioned as possible trade targets, all of them have merit. I like De'Aaron Fox. I think he is kind of a natural fit between Jalen and Shingun. He likes to run, but he also plays well with a similar kind of big in Sabonis. So that the combination is a really good combination in my view. So he does the stuff that we want to do. He does it at a high clip. He's not a shooter, but you would be eliminating a poor shooter in Fred and swapping him out for a poor shooter in De'Aaron that does everything else better. So I think that you still get the lift that De'Aaron will provide. You still need to be in the market for a shooter in the long term. But I don't think it's cost prohibitive if it's just a couple picks and maybe Reed and whatever filler salary / big contract type guy you would have to do in order to kind of get everything to do a trade. I don't think that the cost is so prohibitive that you don't do it. If you start getting up to 3 and 4 first, or you're tapping into your true core, your like you start looking at Amens or your Shinguns or even honestly, I would keep Cam. But like if it's a Jalen, a Reed, maybe Tari. If it's that, on that end of the spectrum, then maybe. But if you start kind of creeping up the spectrum, then I would be out. If it's multiple non lotto protected kind of first round picks. Like if it's just unprotected first rounders, then I don't know. I wouldn't go very far on it, but I would consider something with a couple first rounders, a couple prospects. That would make sense to me. Um, that's it. I think that's it. So anyway, I didn't want to take too much of your time. Wanted to put that out there. Check me out. I'll probably post these, quick recaps after every game. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to hit your boy up. Chris Harris, Land of the Trill. Peace.